All right, today we're going to talk about the show Fishtank, which is a YouTube reality TV show series where contestants are put together. They live in a house. This is a true social experiment, kind of what like early Big Brother used to be, where they would cast a variety of interesting and different people, and you'd see how they compete with each other, how they socialize with each other, strategize, and really get down and dirty and kind of have to come up with new and interesting tactics. Um, Sam Hyde, the YouTuber, put this show on along with Jet Neptune. I'm not sure if Jet Neptune is that guy's real name, but he's funny. And this show leans heavily into the comedy and the drama, and things get off the wall. So I'm going to do this the best way I know how, which is in a tier list, and we're going to talk about the different characters more than the show itself. The show is crazy. Um, as these contestants, well, first of all, they're not allowed to go outside or use their phones or socialize, and there's not really their family stopping in to talk to them. It does last quite a while. Like you get the impression that it lasts like over a month. I think they do say it, but the edit of the show, they move things along quickly and they don't like heavily focus on um people like reacting to the competitions. It's more of like the raw footage, if that makes sense. It's edited together quite well and tells a story, but you're not constantly getting interviews from the cast that kind of like coincide with what's going day to day. Now the cast does get interviewed, but it's more like while they're still in the house competing than like a separate diary room scenario. And we'll start to go through it. Now, this show is very interesting in that they have some contestants are temporary and some are permanent, and it is very bizarre and awesome. First contestant we'll talk about is Vance Global, Vance Refrigeration. I think I've got to put him in A tier. He doesn't really reach S tier for me. He great contestant. It's unbelievable to get somebody. He's kind of somebody where I give him all the props in the world for sticking it out and doing as well as he did and keeping a calm head and just not giving up. And great contestant. It's just his best moments are with they're just kind of like overshadowed by other contestants having better moments. Um, One contestant that I wish we saw more of is Simmons. Now, he completely deserved what happened to him on the show, but I feel like he had a different kind of demeanor. And even though it's really like dark and horrible, I think he would have like brought a little bit more to the show, even though I like 100% agree with kicking him off and think he's a piece of crap. And it's spoiler alert. I mean, that's not a big one because watch this show. It's on YouTube. Fish Tank is the channel name. Watch the first season. They're currently filming a second season. This show is phenomenal. If you love reality TV, or if you just love the like, um, maybe you don't love reality TV. There's a ton of shows that go on forever, right? Like, what are we on? Like Survivor 45, Big Brother USA, like 24 or 25 or whatever. The challenge, like 50. No, I think the challenge is approaching like 40 or like it's it's around Survivor in terms of number of seasons. But this show is it captures that social experiment and it becomes Lord of the Flies in a way that is just crazy, just absolutely crazy. But Simmons, I just felt like maybe like another episode of him on it would have been, um, I mean, as much as he doesn't deserve it at all, it would have been nice to see him, um, get eliminated naturally from the show, or maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it would have actually gotten more Lord of the Flies, and they would have kicked him out. The other contestants would have treated him very badly. Because I think the other contestants didn't get like they didn't know how to react, and I feel like that if he stuck around longer, that would have turned into them knowing how to react, and people can react very strongly to that kind of thing. When you watch the show, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, I forget this guy's name. Sorry, but he got the job done. He did what he needed to do. This girl too. I don't know who this is. Um, oh, she would have been the Josie, I think, similar to Josie, but I can't. I just don't remember her doing anything. So F tier, whoever you are. Maybe she just didn't even make the edit. I don't know. Um, this motivational guy, I think he can also. I mean, he did a little more. I'll put him in B tier. Chip. Chip was entertaining. He brought. I feel like he was left out of the edit a lot, so I can't give him higher than B tier. He just was a kind of a non-factor. Um, Dontarius. Dontarius was probably higher up on B tier than these guys. Um, this is like I don't even understand the purpose of this character. This like phantom. So I think it's got to go C tier. Um, the goat. The goat was barely there, but the joke lands. Um, so probably high C tier. I feel like the goat had a name, but I can't remember. We'll place Betty. Betty. Betty was down for it. Betty was interesting. Um, she did her few things. Worthwhile contestant. Lance was pretty funny. Um, I will put him higher than Dontarius in B tier. I'm saving the people where there's more to talk about till last when going through this tier list. So we have Simon. Simon was cool. I'll put him right in high A tier. Um, he just wasn't. He could have, if he stuck around longer. I feel like we could have gotten to know him better. Um, I'll go with. This is kind of more of the main cast leftover. Why do I forget her name? I just watched it. I mean, she was down to get dirty. She did she played a pretty solid game, and why can Sylvia's her name. Yeah, just she didn't get I feel like none of the highlights were of her. So she kind of suffers from that. So I'll put her right there in A tier, just below Simon. All right. Now we have Daniel. Daniel. It's like Daniel, but with an M instead of an N. So Daniel was really funny. Definitely smart casting. I feel like he just kind of maybe didn't have it in him. He just wasn't a strong enough competitor to stick it out. But great casting. I appreciate him being cast. I think I got to put him. I feel like he's A tier. Yeah, I think I'll put him above Betty. Now we have John. John, S tier. Personally, I'm sure I would not be able to like stand him and his his certain his certain things about him kind of rub me the wrong way, but that's as a viewer. I don't know him. And I don't know if we'd get along in person. It's hard like he played a strong game though. He was an interesting character. A lot of like several of the really key moments of the season in this like involve him. I yeah, just very interesting, good casting. So we'll move on to I think we got to move on to Maru. So Maru here is really somebody that he was kind of a nothing burger until like later on. And later on, he is such a punk. Like I cannot stand what this guy did. I'm gonna tell you, spoiler alert, because it's a non-factor to the competition. And I should mention the prize money for the competition is 35 grand, which seems like it's not a lot from like television reality TV show competitions, but it really is like a fair bit of money. And you got to think like a lot of what you get from this, from being on one of these shows, and especially one as interesting and different as this, especially like a first season. Typically, the people who are in the first like 2 seasons of any reality show, any good reality show, they get fame and they can utilize that to keep making more money, right? Like if they play their cards right, they can turn that fame into something. So a $35,000 prize, that's what like most people make in a year. So it really is a very good prize. And the the like fame and notoriety is worth it. Obviously with some people it's really not, like with Simmons, and I think with this guy Maru it's the same. Guy was super boring on the show. Then he does something absolutely despicable. So as you might have noticed on these people I haven't placed on the list yet, there is Airsoft Fatty, the YouTuber Airsoft Fatty down here. I suppose his real name is Chris. They call him Chris on the show. And he is a weird guy, Airsoft Fatty is. He but he's awesome. He despite being like an already popular YouTuber, somebody who I assume is making money off YouTube and is doing okay for himself, he decided he'd be on this show. Probably just to increase his fame and to have a good time. But he ends up sticking it out in a way that really impressed me. So this guy Maru has a problem with Airsoft Fatty. Not sure exactly why, but he decides to just treat Airsoft Fatty like dirt. And so he's picking on him, and eventually he gets Airsoft Fatty to slap him. And I don't know exactly what is going on with Airsoft Fatty. Other contestants and stuff say that he has some like mental issues. Maybe not like mental health necessarily, but he's I don't know. I don't know what is going on with him. Right? I can't speak to it, but even without that, this guy Maru, this chunky guy over here, he convinces Airsoft Fatty to slap him. He's like, hey, yeah, slap me. Like, we don't get along. Like, slap me, slap me. And Airsoft Fatty doesn't want to do it, but Maru continues, slap me, slap me. So Airsoft Fatty eventually does it, and he slaps him. Maybe gives him like 40% of his strength. Like, not like a drunk joking around, not very hard slap. Clearly holding a lot back. Right? Well, before he slaps him, Maru's like, oh, slap me, slap me, slap me. Keeps goading him to slap him and says, But I get to slap you back. But I get to slap you back. So Airsoft Fatty reluctantly agrees, slaps him with about 40%. Well, this Maru guy, being a total asshole, piece of crap, coward, pathetic human being, slaps Airsoft Fatty back, but gives him 100%. Like this slap is like a punch. Like just gives him everything with this slap. Like just a total cheap shot. Like that's so pathetic and cowardly to do. To like somebody slaps you and they're clearly holding back and you talk them into it, but with the promise that you could slap them back and then you just hit them with everything because you hate them. Like it's so gross and like unnecessary and pathetic and weak and cowardly. This Maru guy is a piece of human trash, F tier, worst of the worst. Never bring this guy back. This guy deserves nothing. Horrible person. So that leads us into Frank here. So Frank eventually he does not take kindly to this, and he is clearly looking to fight Maru, and Maru is pathetic and cowardly, and since Frank is actually like a little bit larger than Maru, he is goading Maru into a fight, and Maru refuses to. The pathetic coward will sit there and attack somebody who isn't going to defend themselves. But then once he's challenged, he backs off completely. Just such a pathetic coward. Just such a Weasley piece of crap move by this Maru guy. And Frank, I don't even feel like... I don't even like this Frank guy up until that point. I'm like, this guy is going too far. He's taken like... He's escalating things with everybody. I don't like him. He's way too combative. But at that point, I wanted him to beat this Maru guy into the dirt. Like, just because what Maru did was so pathetic and cowardly. So then it kind of like was just a total like turn to heroism by Frank. Even though like I don't give him that much credit, it wasn't like heroic. I think that elevates Frank to A tier, right below Vance. And I think that's just a really important part of the show, because it elevates Fatty, it elevates Frank, and it shows Maru's true character. Now Fatty, clearly S tier. Holy crap, I was so impressed. I expected Fatty to be gone like immediately, like last a day or two. But he stuck it out. He stuck it out and like really just brought so much to the show. I give him so much credit. He was just down for like all of it. Just all of it. Just such a strong participant. I'm going to put him above Jonathan. Now, the last two we got to talk about, Josie and Letty. Now, I'm not going to I'll like give you too much detail about what they do throughout the show, but they are just like Fatty. They are down for all of it. They are willing to do what it takes to try to win, and they just bring it all. I will give Josie the second highest spot. Letty is just number one in my eyes. She was willing to go places that no one should ever go. She just gave it her all in a way that is just wild and wacky. To make it clear, they destroy the house. Like they frequently they implement the strategy of trying to get others to quit the show, which you used to see occasionally in Big Brother, and you used to see it. You still sometimes see it in like the challenge, like MTV's The Challenge, where contestants will sit there and like get in each other's face. They'll prank each other. They'll push each other's buttons to the extreme to try to get the other people to crack, to quit, to hit them, to disqualify themselves, or to just lose, to like not have their head in the game and fail. And they take this so far, like farther than I've ever seen on any reality show. This whole show is off the wall lunacy. It is must watch. I'm telling you right now, go onto YouTube, check out Fishtank. Watch the first episode. I'll pull it up right now for you. I will show you exactly what the first episode looks like. It's called Pilot Fishtank. Yeah, I guess I'll just pause this ad. I don't use ad blocker, but right here, Fishtank, season 1, episode 1, pilot. The channel is Fishtank. Watch this. Watch the full thing. It does kind of start a little slow with the first few episodes as you get to know the characters, which is kind of standard fare for reality shows like this. But I promise you, things get awesome and stay awesome in a way that will impress you. I love this show, Fishtank. Cannot wait for season 2 to be done filming. They're filming it right now. And there's like this whole like live stream element, and there's text to speech messages going off. This is like kind of offensive stuff. I'll give you a warning. If you get offended by offensive jokes and language, since there's people typing text messages which get played through a PA system throughout the house, they say very offensive things. And if you get freaked out by like really gross stuff, really gross stuff happens. Just a warning. But you'll love it, I promise. It is a true social experiment. Check it out, Fishtank. Peace out.